Hey everyone, I wanted to take a second to talk to you about Mana Traders. I've been using their online card rental service for about 2 years now, and I would highly recommend it to all of you if you're trying to play more Magic Online and become a better player. They also put on a free $15,000 tournament every single month in addition to their rental service, which is the highest payout tournament that you're going to find online, especially in the pandemic times. This month is Pioneer, so check them out and use coupon code MULLMONEY when you sign up for 15% off your first 2 months of rentals. Hope that you enjoy the video. Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Making Magic Happen, brought to you by RIW Hobbies and Games in Livonia, Michigan. And today I am battling with some Jund Citadel in Pioneer. This is a really cool deck that's been kind of crushing it in Pioneer in the first couple weeks since the bans. Kane Reinhardt took it to a finals appearance in the first challenge of the new season, and then Sam Pardee won last weekend's Super PTQ. I am playing Sam's list today, and the biggest thing that has improved for this deck with the new format and the new set is the addition of the pathways. So we just get to play 4 copies each of the black-green, the red-green, and the red-black pathways. This deck can sometimes deal a lot of damage to itself when it had a bunch of shock lands. Now, it's relatively pain-free, and so really powerful strategy. The goal is to get a Bolas of Citadel in play as soon as possible, or failing that to overwhelm your opponent with sacrifice effects like Mayhem Devil, Catacomb Sifter, Woe Strider, and Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Now, Sam's innovation was Witch's Oven plus Cauldron Familiar. Gives you a little bit more staying power against decks that want to interact. It's not something I'm entirely sold on yet, to be honest. I think it's fine in the deck. It obviously fits with like Mayhem Devil and Catacomb Sifter very well, but I'm not sure at this point. So we're going to give it a try. We're also playing four Gilded Goose and then 3 copies of Elvish Mystic Llanowar Elves. So we're trying to accelerate our mana, trying to play 3 drops on turn 2, trying to play Collected Company on turn 3, things like that. Overall, really powerful strategy, so excited to try it out. Give you a quick rundown on the sideboard. We play a lot of interaction and removal in Fatal Push and Noxious Grasp to deal with creatures. Noxious Grasp handles some of the more problematic planeswalkers in the format like Nissa. Thoughtseize is just a good catch-all against combo decks, against control decks. And then Bone Crusher Giant, Tireless Tracker, and Corvold give us some inevitability against decks where they may be able to shut off our Collected Company plus Citadel plan. For example, if a deck brings in Grafdigger's Cage, that completely shuts those off. So having Corvold and Tireless Tracker is a way to kind of pivot away from these two and have cards that are just good on their own without the bringing in things from the library synergies is really strong. So I'm going to be battling in a prelim tonight. It's Friday night, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, hey there everybody. We are here for round number 1 of the Pioneer Prelim Friday night with this Jund Citadel deck. Sorry, let me adjust this logo a little bit here. Alright, and let's get started. This hand has no acceleration, no plays that affect the board until turn 3, so I'm going to go ahead and take a mulligan. This hand, not a ton better. I think that we do have to keep this, though, with, decent mana and an early play. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I'm not thrilled about it. We'll go ahead and bottom a Pathway. We don't really need more than 1 red mana with this deck. Looks like our opponent has started on 7. It's possible that a hand with 2 Collected Companies is just like too powerful to mulligan, but the fact that it only had 2 lands made me pretty scared there. This looks like we're looking at some red-black Arcanist here. Just going to go ahead and play our Woe Strider out. And collected company is something that I love to see on top. So we'll go ahead and leave that there. Oh no, nothing to do with our mana. That's not good. So hopefully we find a couple things that can make mana off of this Bolas' Citadel, and that, or off of this collected company, and then potentially Bolas' Citadel next turn. We're also not doing anything with their mana, which is interesting. It's a lot of options here. I think we want to take Catacomb Sifter, Gilded Goose. That could be aggressive. What if we took if we took Catacomb Sifter, Woe Strider? Yeah, I'm going to do this, actually, instead of the Gilded Goose, and then scry I'm going to sacrifice the Goat in my upkeep to make sure that I draw land. Of course, it's possible that my opponent will remove these creatures. Kolaghan's Command, okay. So the good news is they can't play Kolaghan's Command next turn. I imagine they'll use it to kill Woe Strider here, though. Probably make us discard a card as well. Alright, we'll go ahead and scry a couple, try to get a land on top. And there we have it. We can start by attacking. Might as well not lose out on this point. Collected Company is a good one. I'm going to hold priority and cast that. And we did find a second one. I'm going to have their Exile Zone be here underneath me, so... Alright, 2 collected companies. Holding priority rewards us in a big way. We're going to go ahead and take those 2. Only a priest is a pretty bad hit off of the second one, but I think we're gonna be able to win here. Damn. Alright, so we'll sacrifice this. We get 2 scries. Right? Yeah, that's the way to go. We'll go ahead and point the Mayhem Devil triggers at our opponent. We'll scry that to the bottom. Top. Cast it. Cast it. Cast it. And now we can activate Bolas' Citadel for the win. Okay. So we got there in game number 1. I'm not super familiar with this matchup. I probably want Fatal Pushes because their deck is relying on 2 drops like Dreadhorde Arcanist, Young Pyromancer, and Magmatic Channeler to gain an advantage. So I want Fatal Push to be able to kill those. And I think I like bringing in Corvolds. Because we're bringing in so many things that company doesn't hit, we're going to cut a couple companies. And I think we should shave a couple of these. Yeah, we'll give this a try. Again, I'm not entirely sure how to sideboard at this point, so I'm probably not doing it very well, but trying our best. Those were some good company hits that game. This hand is not any good, so we will mulligan. This hand is pretty good, I think, so we can go ahead and keep this one. And I think that Mayhem Devil is probably the worst card in this hand. Mayhem Devil isn't really as good as it is in like the dedicated Cat Oven decks that you see in Historic and in Old Standard. Okay, Leyline is pretty bad for us. That's why we do bring in the Corvold, so that we can beat cards like this. I'm probably going to take our Goose. They do that, and so now stuck with no plays until turn 3, but hopefully we are able to find something. Our opponent looks like they mulled a 5 here, so their draw is also not very functional, luckily for us. Okay, no, they started on 6. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I should lead on Catacomb Sifter here. I could be wrong. It's possible I'm supposed to lead on Woe Strider, but I think that Catacomb Sifter is the... No, I was supposed to lead on Woe Strider there, I think. Because this next turn I want to be scrying to try to find a Corvold or a Company or something like that. So this was a bad choice, opponent. This is where I get paid off in a big way. So I will leave Corvold on top. If I played Woe Strider, then my opponent could have just stomped and then I wouldn't have gotten the scry. So Catacomb Sifter is better if I think that my opponent has some sort of 2 damage removal, like a Magma Spray or a Bone Crusher Giant. So actually, with how they've played this game, yeah, I think that this was the better way to go. And I think I'm just going to do the same thing on this next turn, or on this turn. Just play Catacomb Sifter. Make sure that my opponent's removal spells aren't turned on, and then set up for this Corvold next turn. All right. And then we're just going to go Corvold and sacrifice a land here. We've got a lot of mana. We don't really need all of it. So red, green. Yeah, we'll just sacrifice one of these swamps here. Then this Eldrazi Scion can be instant speed draw card if we want it to be. But we'll probably save it to turn on Revolt at some point. Alright, cool. So hopefully this Corvold just runs away with the game. If not, you know, I've still got a pretty solid board. Dreadbore, jerk. I don't think that Priest is good at this point. Nor is Cauldron Familiar. Alright. Well, Corvold drew us 2 cards, and it ate a Dreadbore, so definitely had worse cards. That one does nothing. So we're going to sacrifice the goat here, use it to scry. We don't want more lands. Don't want more lands. Yeah, I think that I would take a Mayhem Devil. And then we're just going to try to get aggressive and finish this game off. We should have lethal next turn if my opponent doesn't have a meaningful way to interact. I don't think that they will. So I'm pretty optimistic about this here. Okay, well, Anger of the Gods is very good, and at this point, I don't think that I want to leave Mayhem Devil on top of my deck. Yes, I do want Bolas' Citadel. That is a good one. We don't have our 6th mana yet, but Catacomb Sifter will get us there. So I think that we're going to be in good shape to play this Citadel next turn and then win the game. Opponent has no cards in hand. They need to rip something good. If they rip an answer to Bolas' Citadel, then yeah, like Kroxa. Kroxa is just their actual best card. And honestly, I should have held on to. Actually, no, I shouldn't have. I was going to say I should have held on to Zulaport Cutthroat because of Kroxa, but because my opponent has 6 lands here, it wouldn't have made a difference. So, kind of unfortunate. Kind of tilted about that, to be honest. Kroxa was their actual best draw there. I think I'm going to sacrifice this Eldrazi Scion to scry. Okay, that is the one. That's the one we need. Making me wish that I hadn't done that now, but I think that I'm happy with the decision. And then I think I just sacrificed Zulaport Cutthroat. Okay, that's really good. Well, actually it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to discard it to this Kroxa. The good news is Korvold means that my opponent is still in a spot where they need to draw out of this, because Korvold outraces Kroxa when I have double their life total. So let's see what they drew here. Okay. So Bone Crusher Giant was a pretty good find. Just going to sacrifice the food. Okay. So now, I think that I like our spot now. We have enough blockers to the point where we're not going to die to these. I guess Anger of the Gods kills us. Yeah, Anger would kill us. I think that's really the only thing that does it, because it needs to be something to clear out all of these blockers. But we were able to get it done against the red-black, just kind of Jundi deck. I imagine that they were like a Dreadhorde Arcanist Young Pyromancer deck, but we were able to outvalue them. Korvold was a pretty timely top deck there, and we will see you for round 2. All right, everybody, we are here for round number 2 of this Pioneer Prelim with Jund Citadel. On the play against Indian Pancake. I believe this is someone I've interacted with before. Not a hand that I'm going to keep. This hand doesn't really do much. This one's alright. Unfortunately, no black mana, so really hoping that our Gilded Goose doesn't get killed here. Hateful Eidolon, you got it, opponent. Okay. So we got a choice here of whether we want to play, I think we just want to play Priest. And then hope to spike a black land for this Catacomb Sifter. So if we hit a land here, we're on pace for a pretty solid Citadel in a couple turns. There's a few different ways our opponent could go about this to not just lose to this Priest edicting them, given that they're on auras. They could put a SRAM in play, or they could use Cartouche of Solidarity to make a 1/1. Either way makes it so that Priest edicting doesn't hurt them at all. So either way, Priest making mana is still going to be pretty good for us down the road. Alright, so they do play 2 creatures here. Unfortunately, we miss, so we are probably going to lose this game. Which is, you know, a risk that we took when we kept this hand. I think it was a reasonable keep, especially given that I was on 6 cards, but it doesn't look like it's going to pan out very well. Alright. Yeah, I'm just dead. It's possible we can like chump block our way out of it, but yeah, I'm just going to use Collected Company to try to survive here. Possible I should have blocked last turn, but I think that we need Gilded Goose to survive if we're going to do anything. Opponent in the tank here, probably trying to see if they can kill us through a company this turn. Looks like they're putting Griff Spoon on SRAM, sure. God, I don't know how we win from this point. It probably involves like multiple priests. Like we probably have to hit priest plus yeah, that's fine. Priest plus like Woe Strider off of this company. So I'm going to go ahead and block. And then before damage, fire this off. Okay. So then, what can we do? I think we take Mayhem Devil, Woe Strider. Make our goat. We have you sacrifice a creature. Sacrifice these 2. Go here. And then in response to that, sacrifice. No, we just let this happen. All right, yeah, Mayhem Devil was very good. They get to draw a lot of cards here, but we can probably just like keep their board down. I'm gonna bottom that. Okay. So I think we want to go second priest plus a cat here. Could be wrong. It's possible that we should just go for cat oven there instead of cat priest. Feels bad to waste a mana, but it's probably just the play. I think we might just be able to deal lethal next turn. Like, I think that we're just at that point. We can, at the very least, cast Citadel. Citadel's not going to be very good with us only being at 6. But I'm actually feeling okay about this, which I did not think was going to be the case a turn ago. Okay, that's fine. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so what can we do here? We're going to go ahead and priest you. Let's just start by playing Witch's Oven. Sacrifice cat, shoot Alseid. Bring back cat, shoot Alseid again. This, sacrifice priest, cat, shoot this, shoot you. Shoot you. Get Citadel in play. So I can deal 2 here. I think I should sacrifice priest just because if there's a spell on top, I just win the game. Yeah. Wow. What a game. I thought we were dead. We'll top that and then we just bring back cat. Wow. Look at that. That was so sweet. Priest is such a power. Priest plus Mayhem Devil is so powerful. Okay, so we want to bring in the Fatal Pushes, the Noxious Grasps. As good as it was for us that game, I don't think this. I think we want to cut like 2 Citadels. I think this is a matchup where we want to shave on companies because, well, let's think about it. Yeah, we have 27 hits, so I guess it depends on what we're boarding out. I think I can board out my Cutthroats just because they're not, because we're going lighter on the Citadel plan, and then I'm going to cut a Witch's Oven just because we need to keep our company hits high, so 25 is a good place to be. Wow, what a game that was. I don't think this hand is good enough on the draw. Neither is this one. Yeah, I guess. So I guess we're going to just try to do cat oven things and hope that this Noxious Grasp does something. It's possible I just need to keep that collected company. I'm not really sure. Either way, though, this game, don't love our odds. And again, I did say that about last game, so you never know. But coming back on a mull to 5 on the draw without like a priest or anything is going to be difficult. Yeah. Yeah, looking pretty bad here. So it's actually possible that we don't want Noxious Grasp. I'm going to check something real quick here. Pro black, Jesus. I shouldn't F6. Just gonna pack this one in. I'm not gonna win. I think on the play, I like Bone Crusher Giant better than I like Noxious Grasp. And then we can cut a Cauldron Familiar because Bone Crusher Giant is a collected company hit. Especially with that Apostle of Purifying Light, I think that Bone Crusher Giant is probably necessary. Just so that we have a way of getting that off of the table. Yeah, this hand is really good. Start with a Goose. It's this thing called Slitherboar Pathway. That's a strange name for a land. Alright, and we are off to a pretty good start. I wouldn't be surprised if our priest got pushed here. Okay, it doesn't, thankfully. So we'll see what they do. They might play a SRAM here, or they might play an Apostle. I think in both cases, I'm probably just going to Collected Company. Just spend my turn 3 doing that. And then we can probably just play a turn 4 Citadel. So I think we're going to be in really good shape for this game. If they don't have anything too disruptive. They didn't Fatal Push our Priest on turn 1, which was really good. I don't even know if they play Fatal Push, to be honest, or if they bring it in this matchup, but it's definitely something that could be useful. And they're in the tank about what they want to do here. You know, with this Edict effect just on the table, it makes their play a lot more difficult. I guess something that they could have to deal with it is Deadweight. I know that a lot of these decks play Deadweight over Fatal Push, just I think because of added utility with SRAM, which I'm not sure if that's good or not, but it's what people do. So yeah, now I'm just going to pass and Collected Company, and if our company doesn't brick completely, if we hit 1 creature, then we can Citadel next turn and hopefully be in good shape. If we hit 2 creatures, I think we're just going to be winning outright. So they can't really load this up with enchantments unless one of them is Cartouche, because, again, Priest is just on the table. So yeah, them having another creature makes a lot of sense, but I still think that this company into Citadel is just kind of the strongest start that we can have. So I honestly can't think of like a better curve for this deck. Yeah, this is all fine. Yeah, I think I company here. We might as well. All right, Catacomb Sifter plus Catacomb Sifter plus Woe Strider. Yeah, let's do that. I don't really need Mayhem Devil. And then I'm just going to block with the Goat. Because the 5 life with Citadel is going to be very important. So let's Priest you, get rid of Goose and the Scion. Don't really want to draw priest. Don't really want to draw pathway either. Not that it matters, not that we're, drawing cards for the rest of the game, but still. Alright, I'll target my priest just because it doesn't super matter at this point, and then we'll collected company in response. Double Mayhem Devil should be enough to put this game away. Triple Mayhem Devil, even better. Yeah. We'll go ahead and save targets, point all of the Mayhem Devil triggers at my opponent's face. I do like Llanowar Elves. Guess I should yield to these. Is that right? Yeah, 9. Damn. Okay, so then we can do this. So I guess it doesn't matter, because even if we don't kill our opponent with Citadel, like, we can just sack everything and kill them with Mayhem Devil triggers. Yeah, let's just do that. That's easier. Opponent just chatting a little bit about the deck, but they did say GG's, so we're going to be good to go here. Alright, and we are 2-0. We'll see you for round 3. Alright, hey y'all. We are here for round, I believe this is round 3. Looks like our opponent is on a Niv Mizzet strategy. Hopefully our Priest of Forgotten Gods is good against their Sylvan Caryatid. I think so. If we get to untap and Edict this, I think we're going to be in a good spot, but they usually play a lot of removal spells, so that might be difficult. We'll see, though. We will see. Not deep in the tank here. Not really sure what they want to do. What could this mean? I'm not super familiar with what the Niv decks look like right now, so I really couldn't say what they're thinking about here. I know that if they let me untap, I'm going to play Woe Strider, make them Edict their Sylvan Caryatid, and then probably play Zulaport Cutthroat. I would play another Priest if I drew it, though. But we'll see what they do. terminate strategy, Dreadbore, sure. Make a food in response. I think I should go... I'm just going to play cat and double oven here. So this means that next turn I can start using Mayhem Devil, getting like 4 triggers a turn, which is a lot. Okay, so Valky means that my opponent will probably be taking away my Mayhem Devil. It's very rude of them. The fact that they don't have a Nib Mizzet or a Bring to Light here makes me really happy. What else are we looking at here? Oh, jeez, that's bad. Alright, so we need to find an answer to that. I don't think that we have a good answer to that, to be honest. So, we're in some trouble here. Okay, don't hate to see them cycle. Means their hand is likely pretty bad. Yeah, unfortunately I just have to take an untap step here. Okay, well, does that do anything for us? Not really. Not until we find more lands anyways. Once we do, oh boy. Let's see where they decide to point this this Mayhem Devil trigger. Valky's really good. I always forget about that ability. I don't mind sacrificing the goat for a scry here. I'll sacrifice the cat for a scry as well. Alright, so not sacking anything else this turn. We do not want priest on top of our deck. We do want that on top of our deck. That is a land. We like lands. We're trying to get lands for this Bolas' Citadel. Because that's really our best way to win from here. Another Mayhem Devil would also be acceptable to deal with our opponent's Mayhem Devil, but at this point I do think that I want to just try to resolve Citadel. I'm certainly not scrying a land to the bottom. Alright, let's see what this Nib Mizzet finds. Alright, we're probably dead from this point. We can't really beat Nib Mizzet into Bring to Light. I guess Binding, yeah. I'll play this out, like, just in case something weird happens. Now I should have scryed there. That was bad. So they're gonna attack me, put me to like 18 here, and then I have to try to go off with Citadel. Yeah, not scrying there was a throw. Also not really sure why they targeted my Zulaport instead of my Woe Strider. That was definitely a mistake from them. Don't attack with their Niv Mizzet for some reason. Alright. This is bad, but I am just going to try and find a land on top here. They do get to kill my Woe Strider, so I'm getting punished for not sacrificing Zulaport Cutthroat. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, you messed up, opponent. That does not do it. Man. All right, we're just chilling. I mean, pretty soon I'll just be able to start. Pretty soon I'll just be able to start bringing back Cauldron Familiar and kill my opponent that way. If they go much lower anyways. They really need to start attacking with this Niv Mizzet. Let's see what our opponent has here. They're probably going to bring to light. They might bring to light for a sweeper, which would be bad. They usually only play one Tybalt. It's already on the table. One Valky, I should say. Yasharn. Alright, how do we beat a Yasharn? Let's think about this. So this says that we cannot sacrifice. Which means that Bolas the Citadel doesn't work super well. I'm going to scry a couple times. I still think that resolving Citadel is really the only way we can get back into this game. Alright, what else we got on top? Another Mayhem Devil won't do it. So we're going to keep scrying. Nope. This Valky is really just messing us up. This game would have been over by now. Probably going to attack with their Niv Mizzet now. They don't have another basic forest. That's funny. Yeah. Nothing we can do at this point other than hope that we get some insane string of spells off of this thing. We do hit our land. Oh, Yasharn shuts off Bolas the Citadel too? That's wild. I didn't realize. Okay, so we need Noxious Grasps and Corvold and a couple Thought Seizes, I think. Witch's Oven. I think that Cat Oven pretty bad in this matchup. I'm going to board those out. And I'm going to board in another Thought Seize for a Zulaport Cutthroat, and we're going to give this a try. We have 23 hits with Coco. It's kind of low. I still think that this is, excuse me, where I want to be. I actually think that I should probably go down a Citadel and probably up a Tracker. Yeah, because I'm expecting them to have a lot of ways to find Yasharn, and I'm expecting Citadel to not be good a lot of the time. It's also pretty bad against binding the old gods. Yeah, I like this hand. I think it's pretty good. We'll go ahead and keep this one. I'm not sure if I want to go for... I think I just want to get Catacomb Sifter in play, to be honest. I think that we're gonna start with Elvish Mystic over Gilded Goose. Opponent's on a level 6. Not bad. And that is what we like to see. So, I have a choice here. I can honestly just like... I think I just want to play my geese out here, and then like if I draw a land next turn, then I just get to turn 3 Citadel, which is just absolutely bonkers. It's like they're not really beating that, and then the downside is that I get, if I don't hit, then I just get my Catacomb Sifter and play a turn later, which is whatever. Let's go. Take a Woe Strider Sifter here, and we're just going to try to go off. This is looking like it's just going to be a turn 3 kill. I'm going to scry that to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't really think that we want Corvold. It's a little bit expensive in terms of life. All right, and now we win. Alright, so we're going to press save targets there. I'm going to put all of our Catacomb Sifter triggers on the stack. We have to scry through all of these so that our Citadel trigger can resolve. And then we win. Cool. Turn 3 kill, not bad at all. Alright. Game number 3 time. I think that I'm happy with our plan here. Again, I think that Cat Oven is kind of just mopey against them. And that because of Yasharn, we need plans like Corvold and Tireless Tracker. I don't know, Tireless Tracker doesn't work against Yasharn, does it? I shouldn't have this in my deck. If my plan is to beat Yasharn with that, it shouldn't be in my deck at all. I'm going to have Zulaport Cutthroat instead. Hand doesn't do anything. Therefore, we will mulligan. My opponent has sent me lots of S-Pig emotes. Gotta get a screenshot of this. Yeah, we'll keep this. I dig this hand. Get rid of one of the Crag Crown pathways and then just try to go... They'll probably have some way to break it up, but we're going to curve... We're going to curve Llanowar Elves into Priest into Coco, so not a bad place to be. Looks like opponent's keeping 6. Just a growth spiral, okay. Grafdigger's Cage, very rude of our opponent. So I'm just going to play... Should I play Priest here, or should I play... I think that I should just play Catacomb Sifter instead. No, I'm just going to play Priest. It's pretty bad against Yasharn, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, maybe this is wrong. Man, Grafdigger's Cage is really good. I wish they didn't have that. Also glad that they don't have Yasharn. Cage is nuts against us. Wow. Stops Citadel and Coco. Nah. Catacomb Sifter's not going to do it. Coco's not going to do it. That's the one we're looking for. That is the one we're looking for. So we'll go ahead and smack our opponent for 5. And then if they don't find a way to deal with our board this turn, whether that be a sweeper or something else, they are just dead. And we win. All right, we are 3-0 in this prelim, and we will see you for round number 4. All right, hello everybody. We are here for round number 4, playing for undefeated of this Pioneer prelim, and I'm going to mulligan this hand. And yeah, I'll keep this one. I'm going to get rid of Mayhem Devil. Mayhem Devil isn't quite as good in the early game as Woe Strider is when we're trying to set up our draws, so I like Woe Strider a little bit better. And then obviously trying to set up for this late game Citadel. Looks like our opponent's on Jeskai Yorion, probably fires of some sort. So the bad news here is that means that they have a lot of board interaction and a lot of sweepers, so they'll be able to interact with what we've got going on early. The good news is that they don't generally play much instant speed interaction. So once we resolve Bolas' Citadel, if we can just go from there, then we're going to be in a good spot. Also, like if they don't have a sweeper here, then I think I am going to like our spot quite a bit. They do play like main deck Deafening Clarions, sometimes Anger of the Gods though, so we will see. It does not look like we've found one of those, so I am going to scry here. I don't really want another Woe Strider. And then I'm going to play Priest here so that we can set up for a potential Citadel next turn. Let's see if we can make that happen. Fires, okay. Damn it. All right. It happens, I guess. It's disappointing, but it happens. Oh, I was supposed... Sorry, I meant to scry there again. The good news is I would have scried that to the top. Wow. Never been bailed out that hard in my life after a misplay. Alright, let's see what our opponent did. They put 2 cards on the bottom. It's good for us. So ideally, we would hit like a Gilded Goose and a Catacomb Sifter here. A couple things that make mana will let us cast our Citadel next turn off this company. I also wouldn't hate if we hit like Woe Strider plus Catacomb Sifter, and then we found a land off the top, just because that would mean that we would be able to scry lands to the bottom off of our Bolas' Citadel, but we will see. Our opponent isn't really sure what to do after that Omen of the Sea. They've got 5 cards in their hand. They have not brought Yorion back to their hand at this point. They've spent all their mana every turn. Not all of their mana, I suppose, but they haven't had an opportunity to put Yorion in their hand. I think that this is a matchup where we are very glad that Teferi is banned, because Teferi was like one of the best cards in their deck. So I think that it's especially good against us, because then, like, say on this turn, if they just had Teferi plus Anger in their hand, they could have gone lead on Teferi, we would have had to respond with Company, and then they could have just angered our board away. So the fact that they can't limit our companies like that, and also the fact that they don't really have anything that can effectively answer our Citadel once it's in play, at least not that easily, is really, really good for us. Alright, our opponent has finally decided on a course of action. They lead on Glacial Fortress. And what is going on here? They're cycling Shark Typhoon. Wow. Okay, that's good for us. I have to say, when I first saw that my opponent had a companion pop up and led on Sacred Foundry, I was a little scared, because I was like, oh, they're just 100% Luris Burn. And I think that this matchup is going to end up being better for us than Luris Burn is. Sure. This is bad. I can take my land. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so we are now unlikely to be able to Citadel next turn, unfortunately. Yeah. Damn. Wait, oh, I meant to click Zulaport Cutthroat. Wow. Alright, I have died. We're not beating Yorion Blink, Agent of Treachery. I don't really think there's a reason to keep playing here. I'm just going to concede. So let's see. I think I like all my Thoughtseizes. I don't like Cat Oven very much. I think I do like Corvold. And I think I want some number of Fatal Pushes. Let's see. Yeah, I think I want some number of Fatal Pushes over a Citadel and a Company, just so that I can push a token that they target with Transmogrify. It's possible that's a little narrow, but Agent of Treachery is just really, really good against us, and so I would like to play around that as best we can. Yeah, I'll keep this hand. It's possible that it won't get there, but I think that having two pieces of mana ramp plus a Thoughtseize means that most of our draws are just going to be really good. You know, if we draw something expensive, we can still cast it early on. So I think that, yeah, I'm willing to give this a try. If I didn't have the Thoughtseize and it was just 2 mana dorks, 5 lands, I would not keep it, but I let on Llanowar Elves because it lets us get in a point of damage. And now I'm going to take the Deafening Clarion. I don't even mind, like, this deck just doesn't care that much about Rest in Peace. So our opponent's going to choose to use Omen of the Sea here rather than Rest in Peace, which I think makes sense. I'm actually not going to attack. I'm just going to pass here because my plan is to sacrifice this Eldrazi Scion and use the mana to make a food, because I would like to scry. I don't just want to take a blank, a random draw step here. And they go bottom, which means that they probably didn't find a sweeper off of this. Alright, we're going to respond to this just so that we do get the scry. It's not really high impact enough. Yeah, Mayhem Devil is just like not one of the better cards in this deck. I know it's really good in the old standard versions where like you leaned really hard into Cat Oven and we're sacrificing things every turn. But with this deck, you're really only sacrificing to like scry, and then once you're actually closing the game with a Citadel. It's not very good at just, oh damn it. Alright, that's really bad. Alright. Unfortunately, because of the Rest in Peace, we don't get any scries, which is really bad. Alright. This one's not looking too good. Of course, if we draw Citadel next turn, that could just all change, because Citadel is just like that good. Same thing can be said for Company or Corvold. That unfortunately is neither. So they're probably just going to cycle Shark Typhoon here, make it 2/2, and that's fine. I'm honestly fine just like taking hits from this. Probably, if they don't do anything with their mana next turn, I'm probably just going to push it end of turn, because I think that if they have a Transmogrify, they're going to go and try to... I don't even know if they would Transmogrify on this board, to be honest. Actually, with me untapping with Priest, they probably would, just so that I can't untap with Priest. I guess I'll pop chat out so that y'all can see the Rest in Peace that's behind my face cam. No, not that way. Nope, sorry. I'm still playing with this. Alright, that's fine. And actually, because I have so many foods here and I've got this active Gilded Goose, I think I'm fine just taking hits from this shark for a little while. I'm just really not that concerned about it. They might just put Yorion in their hand here. Yeah. Okay. So they have Yorion. Wow. This is rough, y'all. I know this hand was really speculative, but yeah. No, sorry, can't do that. Alright, so thankfully they do go for the Transmogrify, and I get a chance to Fatal Push. So we get the, not exactly a 2-for-1, but alright, they have another Birth of Miletus, so at this point we really, really want that good Bolus of Citadel. I would even take a somewhat reasonable Collected Company. Gross. Just gross. Okay, that is step 1. That's a good one. Yeah, this is just lethal. Wow. Yeah, all these foods are really, really working overtime. That was basically perfect. Wow, I thought we were just completely out of this game. Citadel is nuts. Wow. That was so sick. Hopefully we can keep that energy up in game 3. Yeah, this hand is okay. It's possible it's a little slow. I don't know. I think it's worth keeping. The more I think about it, the more I think that You know what? No, I think I want to keep a hand with Corvold because I think that my opponent is going to be going for hands that sweep our board, and Corvold giving us resilience to that is really important. So I think I am going to keep it. I'm not thrilled about it, but I think it is. I think it is a keep on 7, and hope that we find like. Hope that we find a collected company or something. Our opponent also decided to keep 7, but they also tanked about it for a little while. There's our Bolas' Citadel, so this is a hand that can just like make land drops and try to win. Okay, so they're keeping a hand that relies a lot on the strength of Rest in Peace. This is what it looks like to me anyways. Because they tanked for so long on that, I'm guessing that their hand is relatively weak outside of this rip. Alright, I'm actually going to play Gilded Goose here over Mayhem Devil. Is that? No, that's a spew. I'm just going to play Mayhem Devil. Grow up. Eat our vegetables. Be mana efficient. If our goose were to die, then we would have just like wasted this turn for nothing. Like obviously casting Corvold a turn sooner would be great, but I don't think it's really something that we can do. Instead, next turn I'll go Goose plus Devil. Alright, please don't Transmogrify. If they Transmogrify here, it's not even that good, honestly. They get to steal like a Mayhem Devil or a land, which we can deal with. Just like don't fires into Transmogrify, please. Wow, our opponent missed a point of damage. They take a land, wow. Big game for us. Alright, so if we get to untap, we get to slam Bolas' Citadel here. I'll take it. So if our opponent just like spends this turn not doing anything, which I kind of doubt, they probably have a Deafening Clarion here. Well, if they had a Deafening Clarion, I think they would just slam it. So let's keep our fingers crossed for no Clarion. We get to build up some card advantage here. Okay, let's see what they target. That was not the right target. At least not unless you have another one. Why do I talk? I don't know why I talk sometimes. Yeah, sure. That really sucks. Yeah, man. Now they have Yorion to blink Agent of Treachery, just like steal another one of my lands. Can't even resolve Citadel because then they can just steal Citadel. Can't really play Corvold. I don't even know what I can do here. Like, I think I just do have to play Corvold. And just like hope to resolve Citadel in a couple turns, maybe. I can't do nothing. Doing nothing will just kill me, because then they'll just steal a land. Yeah, so they just get to steal Corvold here and probably kill me. So I'm going to have to just toss Gilded Goose in front of this Corvold, unfortunately. I can't take 11 this turn if I want this Citadel to have a chance at winning the game. So we're going to block. We're going to hope to draw a land, and if we do, maybe we can put together a win. If we can't, then, oh well, I think we gave it a pretty good shot this game. Alright, that will kill me. Alright, my opponent has decided they no longer need Rest in Peace. Very strange. I can't imagine why. Yeah. Alright, we would've gotten there. But they just have the veto. They just had it all. Alright, this was still a pretty good run. Pretty happy with the deck. So I'll see you all in just a second. Alright, hello everybody. We are done with the prelim. Unfortunately, we were not able to win the game 3 to get the 4-0 there, but overall still a really good result. And I was really impressed with this deck. It was honestly a lot more powerful than I thought it would be. It's something that, in Pioneer, back when Lotus Field was super powered up and Uro was around and Inverter was around, I didn't really like this deck very much just because it always felt kind of underpowered. But now that I actually play it, it's doing some really powerful things and some really proactive things, which is important in Pioneer right now as everyone's decks are kind of untuned and everyone is still trying to find their footing. I wasn't very impressed with Cauldron Familiar Witch's Oven that Sam Pardee added to the deck, to be honest. I think that going forward, I would lean toward Kane's version. I don't know what Kane plays, Kane Reinhardt, but I know that it's something different, and he has said that he's not impressed with Cat Oven, and so I definitely want to explore that space. I also want to explore the space of something like a Braid or Wilt. I want to have answers to artifacts and enchantments, but mostly artifacts and Grafdigger's Cage after board. So I think I would carve out a little bit of sideboard space by removing probably the Noxious Grasps. Those don't seem too necessary to me. I think that the Fatal Push and the Bone Crusher Giant cover most of your bases for things that you need to remove. And I would try to fit some of Braids in there to answer the Grafdigger's Cages. If Rest in Peace is all over the place and we feel like we need to beat that, it's possible that we move toward Wilt instead of a Braid. But I do like the flexibility of a Braid a little bit more. So overall, really happy with this deck. I think that if I play any Pioneer events this weekend, this is what I'm going to be doing, and I hope you all enjoyed. See you next time.
I'm joined by Kyle Balgamase. Welcome, Kyle.
How are you?
Raja Suleiman with Orzhov.
Max McVitie.
Congratulations, Brian DeMars.
Zach Allen. I wouldn't be here without these guys, though. So.
And the champion of Proto Countertalk here, Ari Lax.